If you're going through or have gone through the college application process recently, you know how stressful it can be. As someone who went through this process last year, I want to give some advice for the high school seniors currently going through the application process. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 pieces of advice to hopefully get rid of some of the stress of the process. So firstly, where you get into does not define who you are as a human being or define your worth. I know everyone says this, but it's true. You're more than which college you get into, and where you go does not define how much you are worth as a person. There is definitely a lot of pressure on me to get into certain schools. Not necessarily from my parents or from friends, but for myself. I set an expectation for myself, and I wanted to get into a school of a certain caliber program. That pressure is a very real thing, and you can have expectations for yourself, but in the end, where you get into, it doesn't define who you are. Or if you get into a program that's not quite as good, but you don't get into the one you really want, yes, it's disappointing, but it doesn't define what you are worth. My next piece of advice is, if you're in the position to do it, take money into account, but don't base your decision solely on money if you can afford to look at it that way. Money absolutely matters. In the end, college is a lot of money, and a lot of students leave with a lot of student debt. If it's a small difference between schools, go to whichever school you want to go to more. In my opinion, it's worth the extra little bit of money in that specific case per year to have a better experience. When I was going through the application process, I was down to two schools, and one was within 1,000 or so per year of the other one, and I ended up going with the school that I thought was going to be a better fit for me, even though it ended up being the most expensive one that I was looking at. And in my experience so far for my first semester, I have found that I'm much happier and I'm enjoying myself a lot more at this school than A, I expected to, and B, than I would have at the other school. My next tip is essentially my biggest piece of advice, which is trust the process. I applied to 15 different schools. I really wanted to go to one of them. It was a school I had really wanted to go to for multiple years, and I thought it was the perfect fit for me. I was so excited to go there. I applied early action, got waitlisted, kept getting waitlisted, or I got deferred at early action, then regular decision got waitlisted, and I completely forgot to put myself on the waitlist. And now, 6-7 months later, I couldn't see myself at that school or anywhere else but the one that I'm at. It is certainly a process to go through. There will absolutely be heartbreak from not getting into your dream school or the school that you really wanted to go to. And there will be heartbreak from other people about not getting into the school that they wanted you to go to. That is 1,000% a thing. But being able to turn that heartbreak into realization that it's a process and you just sort of have to trust it, and that if you didn't get into your dream school, you may get into somewhere that will end up being a better fit, even if it's not your dream school or the school that you wanted to go to. And my last piece of advice, and this is by far the biggest one, is keep an open mind, and in the end, it will all work out like it's supposed to. In my case, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I didn't get into that one specific school that I really, really wanted to go to. And as I said earlier, I now can't imagine being anywhere else. I had to keep an open mind and realize that things didn't turn out the way I expected them to. Life threw a curveball at me, and I ended up at the place that I needed to be, and I had a backup plan in case that wasn't the case. In case I got to the school I committed to, and a couple months in was like, I don't like it here, I want to transfer out. I had a backup plan of where I was going to go to. And sometimes it may not work out on your first try. I got fortunate enough that I found a school that I really like and am happy at and can't see myself anywhere else at on my first try. But I know a lot of other people who transfer out after their first semester and transfer to a different school because it wasn't what they were expecting. And there's obviously so many different scenarios. There's the money scenario, there's sports, there's a whole bunch of other things. But this is just from my perspective, being a student going in purely academically with no athletics, and essentially just on academics. Keeping an open mind will make it so that, like I said before, there's obviously going to be that heartbreak and disappointment when you don't get into a specific school. I definitely felt that when I didn't get into schools that I thought were going to be a really good match for me. But as I said earlier with Trust the Process, it's all about how you think about it. It's absolutely okay to be disappointed to not get into that one school that you really wanted to get into. But it's also a question of, can you take that disappointment and flip it around and look at, okay, I didn't get into this school, what other opportunities do I have? If you go in with that mindset and think about things in that way and strive for the best that you can possibly do and go somewhere where you're going to have fun and have a good academic career and maybe a good sports career as well, it will all work out in the end like it's supposed to. It might take some time, it might take multiple tries, or it might take one try. But in the end, it will work out as it's supposed to. So in this video, I've talked about my pieces of advice that I'd give to high school seniors in January or February of 2025 as some of these decisions start to roll out. To end off today's video, I want you all to trust this process and take a deep breath or two and just acknowledge that everything will be okay, even if it doesn't work out the way you want it to. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.